What's going on, you guys? Windy as heck out here, but just wanted to show you guys. I just snipped out the heat shield right now. I'm just gonna put it back under the car. That way I'll get rid of that annoying rattle. Didn't have to take off much, just kind of rounded out that inner portion right there. And that should keep it clear out of the way of that shifter bracket. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw it back in right now. All right, guys, just snipped that heat shielding out of the way and should be good to go. I'm gonna head over to Dimitri's right now and we are gonna do the coating. So stay tuned. So we didn't actually film much of the coating with Dimitri just because we were doing a lot of experimenting and a lot of jumping around, trying a bunch of different things. So wasn't really worth filming. We coated it. He went out for a test drive, got to feel the car, compare it with his. The coating itself went as planned and not went as planned. So he had gotten some advice from a guy over in Germany who has a CLK that he manual swapped, converted to a 32 compressor engine and manual swapped it. So that guy's been doing a lot of coating. He's on MB World. And he connected with Dimitri, gave him some pointers on what to try with my car that has worked for his car. So we did that. We had to go through kind of the German coding, or it's all in German at least. So I went through that, input the values, and it worked for the manual transmission, and everything else worked. The numbers aligned. We got everything like the hex coding that you guys saw in the old coding video worked, but it changed a lot of the values to like some different things, and we had to kind of mismatch some of the previous values that the car had with the current ones for the manual transmission. After we did that, we went out for our test drive. Everything was fine. And then towards the end of our test drive, the check engine light came on, and it was the same codes that Dimitri actually had the first time that he did his manual swap, relating to the ESP and for the shift control module. So normally it shouldn't cause a check engine light, but those are the differences between the AMG ECUs and his ECU. It's a ME 2.8 versus a ME 2.81 for the AMG cars. So for some reason, those codes, even though they don't throw engine lights on those ECUs, mine was throwing a check engine light with the exact same codes. So what we did is tried a few other things out, and the check engine light kept coming back on for those same codes. It will not affect drivability. It doesn't do anything. And I decided I just didn't want to see the check engine light, so we just shut it off for the time being. We're going to come up with a long-term solution to have it still active. I'm not too worried, to be honest, you guys. I use my MB scanner whenever I think something's going wrong, or I'm pretty in tune with the car. I've had it for long enough. I can tell if something's not working properly most of the time. And a check engine light is more like checking the readiness of systems and emission systems and things like that. So I'll be fine without it. So I just didn't want it to stay on. So yeah, another thing I'll show you guys right now. So added proof, there's no shift control module in here. We have all the wiring. So added proof, all the wiring right here is for the shift control module, or gear shift selector, whatever you want to call it. So there's all the wiring for that. I still need to tuck it in up here. I haven't taken this apart to put this back into the wiring loom. And the TCU down here, everything is unplugged. I'm cold right now and don't want to take all this stuff out. But yeah, TCU is unplugged, shift controller is unplugged, and everything is working really smooth with the car. So one other thing I wanted to show you guys as well, we coded the ignition, and when we did that, we coded it to a manual. And when we coded the ignition to a manual, it automatically changed our instrument cluster. So you can see now up here down below, it used to be the gear indicator, and that's no longer there because the car's ECU recognizes that it has a manual transmission. So normally on the other ECUs, ME 2.8, you would have to go in and code that separately. But on the ME 2.81 for the AMGs, or at least for this specific car chassis, it changed automatically as soon as we did the coding for I think it's like ISZ or something, the ignition control switch or something like that. So anyways, yeah, no more gear indicator, so just like a manual would be. I got a shift extender, so it's like a 3.75 inch shift extender, and it threads on pretty good, but I think it's getting bottomed out, so I need to drill out one of the top portions up here a little bit, and then I need to figure out if this thread is the right thread size, because it's supposed to be, I ordered 3/8 24, and that's what this ball is supposed to be, but it's not spinning on very well. It's pretty much stuck on there right now, so I'm gonna have to get this off and see what I can do to get this to match up correctly. And here's what the shifter looks like all put together. I ended up just taking off like a 1/4 inch of the actual stock shifter, the top portion, which I didn't really need anyways, because you can't really thread it because it's like a rectangular shape. So I just kind of cut off a piece of it, and then it fit on perfectly, super solid now, nice and snug. And the threads on my shifter just needed to be cleared out a little bit. They were a little messed up, so just cleared those out and everything fits up fine. Makes throws a lot easier, a lot smoother. I mean, maybe a tiny bit longer, not by much, but the benefits outweigh the shorter or longer throws. So one other thing, which you guys can see the footage on screen right now, is I actually swapped back in the W204 drive shaft. I wasn't comfortable with keeping the Crossfire drive shaft just because it didn't go all the way onto the splines of the second half of the drive shaft, and it felt risky to me, like an unnecessary risk when I had the W204 one. So I ended up trimming a little more of that nose off that you'll see in this video for the W204, and it fit perfectly. It was all the way onto the teeth for the back half of the drive shaft, and it worked perfectly fine. It feels smoother actually after switching from the W204 to the Crossfire back to the W204. There's actually a difference. It just feels smoother, and it's a beefier setup. It fits all the way under the teeth. I just felt more confident in it, so I swapped that one back in. So yeah, besides that, I do have some big mods coming up. I just got a steal of a deal on a brake setup that I'm super excited to install. So in the next couple weeks, I'll get that going. This weekend, I'm going to be finally making a video on the ML55 for some exhaust modifications that I need to update. That's been a long time coming. So I'm going to do those this Saturday. And besides that, little projects here and there for the C55 until the next big one for the brakes. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.